In the FNaF 4 minigame, why would the tiny toy Chica be missing her beak? That's a question that has plagued the FNaF fandom ever since it was asked. Because it's just so damn confusing and random. What would this broken toy Chica tell us about the lore? This question was asked during MatPat's livestream in 2015, the one where he gathered the most popular FNaF theorists, YouTubers, and they discussed the FNaF lore, which at the time was only the 4 games. And in that livestream, Scott posted clues on his website, scottgames.com, to give MatPat and theorists the necessary clues to solve FNaF. There were only 3 clues that were ever posted, the first being about the tiny toy Chica, the second would be what is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child, and third was 4 games, 1 story. While the 2 were somewhat understandable, no one had really a solid answer for what this clue is in relation to. But now I think I have a solid solution that could solve what this clue was trying to tell us, or at least I think I'm on the right track, and how it might have secretly told us who did the bite of 87. So now let us begin, and if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Alright, how about we just take a step back and take the simpler approach? Why would the tiny toy Chica be missing her beak? Well, taking the simpler approach, the toy must have broke or the girl broke it. But what does that tell us? Because Scott thought it was important enough to point it out, and he also mentioned that the game had no random Easter eggs. Well, what if we shift our focus from the toy and look at its owner? What do we know about her, and is she important? The girl only appears on the 4th night's minigame. We find this girl in a play area with her toys. When Crying Child talks to the toy girl, she says, "Why are you crying? Don't you like my toy collection?" So she is a toy collector. But what's odd is that we only see 3 out of the 4 toys. The only one left is Funtime Foxy, which, for some reason, is found in Elizabeth's room. That was a bit suspicious, but do you want to know what's interesting? The toy girl doesn't seem bothered that her toy Chica is broken, and that again connects back to the toy Funtime Foxy, and how it is damaged the same way as their real-life counterpart, which made me think that it's possible that the toy girl was the original sister before Elizabeth. The first time I saw this idea was from Sire Squawks, and in my eyes it is a pretty solid idea. Another thing Squawks mentioned to further support this is that the toy girl and Elizabeth look really alike. The toy girl is one of the 3 kids not to mention the party, and the Fredbear plush eyes are illuminated in the park, unlike the rest of the neighborhood, which could mean the plush is watching her. We know the plush is supposed to watch the sister as well, due to one being just inside her room. So the plush here could be watching her as well. Of course, I can't ignore the fact that Toy Girl and Elizabeth have clear differences. That makes the theory less likely. They have different skin color, hair color, and most importantly, the eyes. I think it's fair to wave off the skin and hair color, because Mike also has different skin and hair color between the 2 games. But the eyes are really the biggest evidence against this theory, and I have no other explanation for it other than Scott making a slight retcon to fit it more with Sister Location's story. I'm not sure, to be honest, so I'm just gonna say it's only a possibility that this girl is Elizabeth. But do you want to know what's more interesting? During my research, I discovered that this clue could actually help us solve the bite of 87. As I said, both Toy Chica and Toy Funtime Foxy are damaged to look like their animatronic counterpart in FNaF 2, which takes place in 1987. Which is important because literally all of the FNaF 4 teasers had plenty of 8s and 7s on the source code. This and the fact that the teasers were asking, "Was it me?" prompted theorists to think this game could help us solve who did the bite of 87. However, a couple of days before release, the 87s were changed to 83, and then the game was released and there was no mention of 87 anywhere, which led people and even MatPat to believe that this was a red herring. which made MatPat believe that Scott wasn't really correct in saying that there was no random Easter eggs in Part 4.
You know, but Scott, seriously though, you know, like, you say that there are no random Easter eggs, but then you release a game that supposedly takes place in 1983, as we conclude, as you yourself kind of...
I'm gonna go ahead and just say that it definitely does.
And yeah, I think we all agree at this point that FNaF 4 takes place in 1983, yet all of the pre-promo teaser imagery, materials, hints were hinting at 87 and bite of 87.
But you know, like that...
The timeline of events of that stream is important, because the clues somewhat connect back to the live stream and what was being currently discussed. For example, MatPat discussed the idea of FNaF 2 not actually happening, and is actually a dream like FNaF 4.
Is it possible, again, this is completely off the wall, is it possible that FNaF 2 didn't actually happen?
And it was just, yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, is it possible...
What?
Yeah, no, is it possible that FNaF 2, like the main game of FNaF 2, like putting on the mask, the animatronics like sliding across the screen, jumping out, all that stuff, is it possible that all similar to FNaF 4, which takes place inside the mind of a child, you know, is it possible that FNaF 2 also took place in the mind of a child, you know, maybe again this tortured boy who sees Chica without her beak, who sees the toy animatronics, who sees Mangle in pieces in a separate room in his home. Is that a I don't, like, again,
This would of course be evolved into Dream Theory, but during the stream, when MatPat was discussing this, Scott updated the website with another clue, the one being about 4 games, 1 story, which could be a response to MatPat thinking that FNaF 2 never actually happened. Him saying 4 games, 1 story could indicate that yes, FNaF 2 did actually happen, all the games happened, and they are all 1 story. So when MatPat was discussing the red herrings and how 87s weren't important in the game, Scott emailed Dako the first clue, which leads me to believe that this clue was a hint to MatPat that the 87s was not a red herring. But how is that the case? The 87s in the source code were replaced with 83s, right? Not really. A lot of people assume that all the 87s in the website were replaced with 83s, but that's not the case. Only one 87 was replaced with 83, while the other 87s were still present, meaning that 87 is still somewhat important to FNaF 4, and I think it has something to do with this toy Chica clue. Let's for a second assume that the toy girl is the sister of Mike and Crying Child. If the girl was home with her toy collection, in Afton's home there are toys of the toys and toys of the classics, plus Fredbear. All of them are present in one place, just like FNaF 2, Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, who is missing her beak, Funtime Foxy, who is mangled, and the older models, whom one of which is broken, in one room. You could also argue that the Fredbear plush is mirroring FNaF 2's Golden Freddy in Save Them, where Golden Freddy teleports around the location. But who out of all of these is the only one active and considered a threat? Foxy. Foxy is the one considered a threat to Crying Child. Foxy is the one attacking in the daytime, while the toys and classics are present. Foxy is the reason the big bite happens. And Foxy having connections to 87 don't stop there. In Nightmare Foxy's teaser, there was no nightmare written, unlike the previous teasers. Instead, what was written was out of order. And if you look closely on Foxy's eye, you can see 87 on it. Foxy by far has the most connections to 87 out of all the Nightmare animatronics. And this was again further supported by the week before, where Ralph says that Foxy never bit any kids. Emphasis on kids, which means he bit an adult before. Some people think Ralph could be talking about Mangle, because she is a Foxy as well, and Ralph is just generalizing. But that is not true. Let's look at this scene again. You've just removed the second burned out bulb when you hear something big run up to the restroom door. Foxy. You think just before he busts the door open. The tattered crimson fox gapes at you, one eye covered with a black patch, jaw hanging slack to reveal vicious teeth, His right arm is raised threateningly with a sharp silver hook on the end, where his hand should be. Everything about this animatronic screams not for kids, which is probably why his attraction has been marked out of order for the reopening. Though, as far as you know, he's never bitten any kids. So yes, Ralph is objectively talking about classic Foxy, not a Foxy character in general. So what is the main takeaway from this video? Toy Girl is possibly Elizabeth pre-retcon, and Foxy is most likely the one who did the bite of 87. So do you agree with this conclusion? I would like to hear your opinions down below. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, all that jazz, and don't forget to follow my Twitter account. And I'll see you all next time. See you on the flip side.